What we have, power is temporary, on the front page of The Standard this morning. And this is a message from Uhuru Kenyatta to Ruto that power is transient. You can read the rest of the details inside the bold paper, The Standard this morning. Hello, good morning. I trust that you've slept easy, you've woken up well. Morning has broken and you're bang on time for Morning Prime. Today is Tuesday, the 25th of July, 2023. And I'm glad that you've chosen KT News to inform you today. We shall be looking at, of course, the political turn and tenor in the country, where we're headed right now. Tomorrow, Azimio will be holding a peaceful demonstration, and where there will be candlelit in most parts of the country, just to keep in touch with what is happening as far as the lives that have gotten lost during the demonstrations are concerned. And this will be, as they touted, a very peaceful demonstrations, lighting up the candles and, of course, sending the deepest sympathies and condolences to the families that have lost their loved ones through demonstrations. Many of the legislators also, they're having a measure of fear and trepidation because the government or the police security officers are rounding them up. Some of them are under house arrest as it is right now. Some of them are to appear in court today, and some of them, of course, have been summoned as well. We shall be looking at where we are at as far as police brutality is concerned, and everyone is asking, are we hacking back to the era of where the government was using brutal force in trying to cram down their policies in the throats of Kenyans? This is what we shall be broaching this morning with our legislators who will be joining us here momentarily. I'm joined this morning by Dr. James Nyikao, who is a member of parliament for Seme. Also be joined by Tabitha Mutinda, who's a nominated senator. We have the majority leader of the National Assembly. This is Owen Baya. And Dan Mazo as well, who's a senator for Makueni. So we have a full-packed show, but you get to drive a show with me. You know what to do. You head over to our Twitter handle, which is KT News. At KT News is our Twitter handle. You can chime in, fire your questions, and of course, we shall be responding to them much later in the course of the program. And you can tag me along as well at Dibal Ainer. That's my Twitter handle. So let's get the show into a full run. Of course, looking at what is on the front page of The Standard as you saw it today. A very intensive blow-by-blow account of where Uhuru Kenyatta is bearing out his heart as far as the current administration is treating him. And he's saying power is intransient, power is transient, right? It is very temporal. And this is what is on the front page of The Standard this morning. As I walk down also to join my panelists, we shall be looking at that as well. Power is temporary, Uhuru tells Ruto. This is what we have here. And it's tables turning as it is, as you can see it. And in a candid interview, former president says he wonders why the current administration is going after him and his family in spite of handing over power in peace. And retiring, he says government should focus on working for the people. And this story is tucked away on page 4, 5, 6, and 7 of The Standard today. Let's just read some of his comments. Ask him, that is Ruto, what the problem is. I have nothing against him. I supported a candidate and we lost because of reasons my leader in Azimio, that is Alliance, Mr. Raila Odinga has stated. I have no more interest in politics and state power. I handed over peacefully and I have no regrets. You asked if I feel like a hunted man. I had those terminologies, but my answer is I don't exactly feel so. I can say I am more baffled. What reason do they have to go after me or at me? That is the story that you want to follow inside The Standard this morning. And Kenyans pay price of protest with court dates. As I mentioned, we have some of the legislators who are slated to appear in court today, from MPs to ordinary citizens. Many were arraigned yesterday for troubles emanating from the recent protest against high cost of living and new taxes. And this story is well fleshed out for you on page 10 and 11. The faces are spread here. We have Pauline Njoroge, And also we have Mathare MP Anthony Oloch, former Mungiki leader Maina Njenga, who is yet to, of course, be going for his bond today, and Kilifi County Assembly Speaker Teddy Mwambire, amongst others. You can follow that story on page 10 and 11 of the Standard this morning. This is how it looks. Power is temporary, Uhuru tells Ruto. Grab your copy. The Daily Nation. Uhuru, my problem with Ruto. That is an interview. In a wide-ranging interview, the former president reveals the power struggle that led to his parting of ways with the man who will later succeed him, how the ghost of the Hague slowed him down, why he feels dishonored by the current regime, and why, despite all the drama, he still considers Ruto his president. You have the story on page 2, 3, 4, and 5. Full story inside the Daily Nation this morning. And he says here, quote unquote, a supporter of the Azimio coalition. I campaigned for Raila Odinga in the last general election. Unless something major happens, I support that coalition. This is what Uhuru Kenyatta said. 2017, after the general election, Dr. Ruto wanted us to go after Mr. Odinga and his opposition clique ruthlessly. But I refused, says the former president. You can read all about it inside the Daily Nation. Also on the side, but there, majority of Kenyans feel country is on wrong track. This is what Paul is showing here. A majority of Kenyans believe the country is moving in the wrong direction, with only 15% expressing optimism that it is on the right track. According to the latest InfoTrack survey, Nyanza, Western and Coast regions exhibit lower levels of confidence in the country's direction, while more than half of the population in Central, Northeastern and Rift Valley believe the country is headed in the right direction. This story continues on page 7 of the Daily Nation this morning. Also remember to get your Healthy Nation pull-out magazine inside the Daily Nation. Kenya's arthritis crisis. Read all about it and how you can get all the wiser on how to manage it. This is the Daily Nation. Looking on top here, we have the teaser. Mukumu girls sacks whistleblower cook for leaking school-related information to the media and disobeying instructions. The story continues on page 10 of the Daily Nation. Kenya loses millions in crypto scams, and it's up to 40 years in jail for baby Sagini attackers. This story continues on page 8 of the Daily Nation this morning. Uhuru, my advice for Ruto. Uhuru, my advice for Ruto. That is a splash on the front page of the People Daily. In self-defense, former president denies claims family holds cache of weapons, spells out trouble with his successor, Azimio demonstrations and the frustrations and joys of retirement in interview. This story continues on page 4 of the People Daily. Former head of state says that though he did not support President Ruto in the last election, he has no qualms rendering him any help if called upon. And that story is also on the news bit. Here is what he says. My advice to Ruto is that power is fleeting and temporary. When you have it, act in the best interest of the country and not those around you. I did my best when I was in power and handed over power to you. That is the advice from the former President Uhuru Kenyatta to the current President William Ruto. And court hands baby Sagini trio 55 years prison term. That is the story you want to follow. Also inside the People Daily, judges find suspects guilty of torture. Out the youngsters' eyes. A very heart-wrenching story there, but justice finally has been meted out against the trio. Azimio cancelled demos to hold vigils as Kindiki spits fire. That is the story that you want to follow on page 5 of the People Daily this morning. Let's buckle down to business. I missed the start today, didn't show up. And this is what you're heading, or what will be headlining the front page of the Business Daily this morning. 375 billion shillings revenue shortfall deepens Kenya cash crisis. That is what we have on the front page of the Business Daily this morning. Nets 3.2 trillion shillings in total revenue in the year to June 30th, 2023. Also, ordinary tax revenue below target by 101.4 billion shillings. That is the story that you want to follow. inside the Business Daily. And Kidero Sonko regimes heed 18 billion shillings on source tax revenues. This is what the auditor is revealing. City Hall did not declare a staggering 18.46 billion shillings in on-source revenue in 3 financial years between 2016 and 2019. A Senate Watchdog Committee had yesterday opening the lead on how billions of shillings collected in Kenya's capital may have ended in private hands. This story is tucked away on page 2 of the Business Daily this morning. On the ticker, judge fumes at notorious ARA case withdrawals. High Court Judge Nixon Sifuna tells the prosecutorial and recovery agency that the withdrawal of cases midstream betrays and erodes public trust that Kenyans should have in them. And also 21-day tax nightmare for small traders on consolidated cargo. The implementation of a cargo consolidation plan has handed the taxman room to cast its net on small-scale traders who import in pools. Economic headwinds facing Safaricom's Ethiopia venture. Safaricom's new venture in Ethiopia is facing several headwinds, which, if they persist, will hurt their returns from the capital-intensive expansion. You can read the rest of the details inside the Business Daily this morning. Right, we have the editorial cartoons. This is how the shilling has been doing. This is CBK trying to talk to the shilling, which is going or hurtling down into, is it into obscurity or oblivion as it is right now? Hey, stop. Where do you think you're going? Do you know what? Do you know that I can order your arrest? I order you to come back here. And dong, 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 dong. The shilling seems to be going down. There's nothing much it seems the Central Bank of Kenya can do right now. Last we saw it was at 141.26 cents, and it's still falling precipitously. We hope that something will come to aid our shilling as it is right now. This is what Gado has drawn. And same script, same cast. What is dramatically different from the Jubilee administration and the Kenya Kwanza as far as the scenarios that we are seeing are concerned? Same script, same cast. This is what Ozone has drawn today inside the Daily, the Star this morning. And we have rebels of ODM. They will be facing disciplinary action beginning today. The hearing starts, and you can see them. We're trying to wipe the eggs from their faces. Rebel ODM MPs, disciplinary hearings, and some of the familiar faces you can see there as well, ready to go for the disciplinary action. Dr. James Chikal is going to tell us more about this in a moment. And of course, following the details of what has been happening so far, and Tabitha as well. Dan Mazo is to join us, and also Majority Leader of the National Assembly, Owen Bayer. This is what we do have as editorial cartoons. I will be showing you much later what we have inside the Daily Monitor, the New Times in Rwanda, and also the Citizen as well. But let me just rope in our guests who are already here in studio. Tabitha Apandali, joined also by Dr. James Chikal, as we eagerly wait for the two to join us as well. Tabitha, good morning. How are you? Good to see you. Thank you for joining us, Apandali.
Thank you too.
Dr. James Chikal, thank you for joining us, Apandali. It's good to see you also in one piece.
Yeah.
There already fears and trepidation about legislators coming to or moving about because of arrests that are ongoing. Many of them also to appear in court today. What would you say about this?
We are back to Kanu days.
We're back to Kanu days.
Typical. People are afraid. People don't want to move. You can be arrested anytime. No clear reason why you're being arrested. You are arrested on Friday. You stay late well beyond the constitutional requirement of 24 hours. So I was even saying yesterday when we went to see your watch that there's a gap, a legal gap between what the Constitution says of 24 hours and then what happens on Friday. It means now administratively we must move in and to see what can be done between Friday and Monday to make sure that the mere fact of a weekend does not give opportunity for people to contravene the constitution and go beyond 24 hours, the number of hours required. So people are afraid. When you saw those 6 policemen beating that, I thought of Njoya. I don't know whether you saw, if you could get the clip of Njoya when he was being beaten near the Basilica. And then you bring that clip where those 6 policemen were beating some youth in a white shirt. We are there. We are back there, square and simple.
You're back to Khan regime?
Yeah.
All right. Tabitha, what would you say regarding this particular arrest, the wanton arrest that is ongoing so far?
Let me start by saying what goes around comes around. And where we are, the rule of law is taking its course. And so there's no way you're just going to be arrested because there's nothing that you've done wrongly. There must be something, and the police are doing their work. When the police are doing their work, then you find that people are complaining. When they're not also doing, people are complaining, then what are they supposed to do? Because if an illegality is undertaken, the law has to take its course. And there's the legal procedure or the constitutional procedure whereby someone is is arrested, taken to court, and the proceedings follow as required. And that has been happening. So what should be important in this discussion is then, why are we here? Why are we having this arrest? Why is it that our colleagues feel that we've gone back to the Kanu era? And why do we have to go back? Where is the end? Why are we here? You know, those should be the discussions. Those should be the way forward of things, because we can't be trying to allow ourselves as a country to be going backwards and looking at this is happening, it used to happen, that is where we are. Are we really focusing on moving forward and achieving what we need to achieve, or being where we are? It's all about politics. It's the narrative that is being brought forward. It's the cost of living narrative. Where we are now, it's a discussion of Kanu era. We are in 2023, for Christ's sake, and we should try, and as leaders, and I say this, that while this is our country, all of us, it is the high time that we look at the way forward. That is what is important. How then do we come out of this arrest if they feel that they are unfair arrest? How do we move from there and address what needs to be addressed, unlike moving backwards and looking at it and saying that we are back to that era? Is that the leadership that we wanted? Is that the country that we want? Is it where we want to be as a nation? It is a high time that we call a spade, and the opposition to allow the government that is in place, the government that won in August 9th, when we finished and power was handed over, to continue running, to continue doing what they're supposed to do, to deliver to Kenyans what we promised to deliver to Kenyans. But where we are in discussions of, like, comparisons of how this power was, how this power is, instead of putting minds together and looking at, then how do we achieve this? Looking at the levels of achievement, so that if it has been achieved at a certain percentage, case example like 40%, then we see, why do we still have the gap of 60? And if we still have the gap, then what duration do we need so as to be able to achieve this other gap that is left? And what are the things that need to be done? But we are allowing ourselves and allowing so much the opposition, instead of them focusing on their mandate, their role in terms of being accountable and looking at what the current government is doing. It's about creating chaos. It's about moving back and going back. But I'm very happy, and I want to congratulate also the police. They've restored order. We were prepared. We said, we were here last week on this same show, and we said we are not going to allow this country to move back to where leaders want to take it back in terms of 207, bringing tribal issues and all that. And the police are doing their job. They've been on the ground from last week on Tuesday. I was moving around and they were all over, just said, like being there to provide security to Kenyans, to provide security to their properties as well. They are doing their role. And when, of course, during the investigation as their mandate requires, and realize that you're trying to cause trouble, the law takes its course. Then why do you have a problem when the law takes its course? Why is there a problem? As we speak, the finance bill has been stopped by the court. And as Kenya Kwanza, we are patient. We are waiting the procedures to be followed. So in a nutshell, Dibal, it is the high time from my beginning of this statement that where is the end? Then why are we allowing ourselves to go back to this? Have we sorted the issue of the price of unga? Have we sorted the cost of living? Have we sorted the issues that are there? That we are saying this has not been done, this is like this. What has then been sorted by this particular maandamano that they confidently keep on saying, every week we are going to play the same tunes. And then the song then will be the same and the results will still be the same. It is a high time that they need to accept that this is not going to work. It is not going to work.
Okay.
Either they do it every day from Monday to Friday. It ain't going to be working. You've been here in this
they've
city.
changed tactics right now. Let's say from
The police are doing
tomorrow, it's going to be a vigil, not a demonstration. What's
the
the difference?
police are doing their work. We have a lawyer here. 6 people beating an armed person. Is that the work of the police? Is that how the police should work? Going into people's houses, breaking the doors and finding them inside the house. Is that how the police do their work? If the Andamano in this street, if it is assumed that we people ran and hid into those houses, then when they have hidden, they are not now demonstrating. At least if you stayed vigil around the house and make sure that if they come out, you then deal with them. I would accept that. But the police do their work, but it's how they should do the work. So that's what we are. Now, the police has restored order. What I know myself is that the Mandamano was for 3 days, so the 3 days ended, and so whether the police that ended it, it ended. And I can say, Dibal, I had Mandamano for 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday. Not a single stone was thrown. What happened was very simple. What happened was very simple. At 1,000 people, we walked about 10 kilometers with all the razzmatazz of Mandamano. I just told the police officer in the area, stay observers, stay where you are seeing. If anybody throws a stone, if a car is vandalized, or if a car is stopped, come in and do something, whatever you're supposed to do. But if you are peaceful, let us go on with one. The police said, okay, I'll do that. But we were almost certain that there will be need for them to come in. It never occurred. 2 days. So I've convinced myself that actually it is the way the police conducts itself that actually brings the problem during demonstrations. And I saw it, I told you here on this, that the first day you were at Kamkunji, we moved from Kamkunji past Isili up to Mathare. People were many, not a single thing was. Then, when we met the police at Mathare, then chaos started. So had they just allowed it, it would go. So the police doing their job is exactly the way they were doing it in the Kanu eras. That I will repeat. So, cost of living. Cost of living is what has actually, let me say, to put it that way, what has made our demonstration more successful. More people came out than we really thought, because, and everybody was saying the cost of living. It is not really for the opposition to actively reduce the cost of living. For the opposition is to actually keep the government on toes to do things that will reduce the cost of living. The promises that we made, that we are now going to buy oil directly from producers and the government, and the price of oil will go down, and then the dollar will drop to 120 shillings. Has it materialized? No. We have now bought maize, and we're bringing maize in, and the cost of maize meal will drop. Did it? So these are issues of governance. You know, sometimes I wonder, are there professionals in this governance who are telling the leader of the government that when we do this, this will happen? So you don't let somebody in the position of the presidency make a promise that does not materialize, particularly where people are really suffering food and the cost of fuel. And you know, when fuel goes up, literally, that one even a child in the street knows. Border guys know that when fuel goes up, we are in trouble. Now, these are the issues. To me, these are the bigger issues. The political issues, I know we have been talking about IBC. That is important, that is long term. There's need to be fair on who picks the referee. And if you have an issue with the referee, there's nothing wrong with visiting the past and saying how this thing happened in the past under the worship of this structure. We need to look at it. But the big thing now is the cost of living and the things to do with it. So, okay, now you asked me the vigil. It came yesterday. How the party works, the level at which people make decisions are made. I'm not at that level, but now I know that the demonstration set for tomorrow will not take place, and we are going to have vigils at different places. In the course of the day, I will find the details. Now, it makes sense to me if I saw what went on. If you saw what went in the residential areas, Nyalenda, Nyamasaria, why go in there and do what they did? Those people
were they fishing people out from their houses?
From their houses. People were inside.
We saw the clips. So what was really happening? We could not really validate those clips until...
They are real. They are real. I live about 40, 50 kilometers. So even in the night, people are making calls. People are calling, these people are here outside my house. What have I done? Me are just sleeping. They are saying, if we don't open the door, they are going to break it. And they break it. And they break your leg.
Both the door and the legs.
Both the door and the leg. What have people done? We are protecting lives and property. Surely, when you break the door and find a mama, a young man in their house, you know, then that is exactly what is. And people don't know something, Dibal. You cannot subdue the human spirit by beating them. They actually get more violent. A young man recovers and says, this time they beat me, but next time they are going to beat me, they are going to kill me. But I'm not going to die alone. You know you are going to be killed, but you are not going to die alone. That is what you create in people if you use this. If you have arrested somebody and you have subdued him, I don't mind a guy being pushed by 6 policemen into a Land Rover and taken to the cells. That's the police work. But I don't accept a young man or a person helpless being beaten mercilessly by 6 people. That cannot be what we expect. So those people who have died, I think it is proper to really respect them by keeping this vigil. We in opposition, we do not enjoy the suffering that people go, but we cannot abandon our job because of fear. We will keep the people in position of authority to manage this country to account by means that the Constitution provides, which is peaceful demonstration. And I'll actually go, I think I'll write that there's evidence. I saw it twice in my constituency. I think somewhere in South Nyanza, one of the senators also, so he had, I think in Marsabit it was also reported, where people demonstrated peacefully and there were no police and nothing happened. So, Vigil, we are going to hold the Vigil, we are going to get the details, institutions with structures, once a decision has been made through the structure, passed on, you wait for the details. I'm waiting for the details. I was also ready for tomorrow, but now I'm ready for the Vigil.
So you're ready for the Vigil tomorrow? So we don't know if it's going to run from Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
We'll get instructions.
We'll get all the instructions.
Yes.
No more maandamano, Diban.
No more maandamano.
We are done. No
Let me tell you.
So
it is a closed deal.
No, let me tell Madam.
So
here.
the Vigil.
Let me tell Madam
so
here. No, let me tell Madam here. What? Maybe it is age. You cannot kill the human spirit. Do you know human beings commit suicide? People go and commit suicide. I don't think you've been in Mandamano. When I'm in Mandamano, the police come with a gun. I feel nothing. I'll face that guy. And that kind of talk, me, what you have said now, Madam, when Mandamano comes, I'm going because of what you have said. This chest thumping, it motivates us. A lawmaker says no more Mandamano without changing the constitution, which provides for Mandamano, and is implying that it will be done by force. When the time for Mandamano comes, it will be there. Dibal, I will be there because of what the senator has said now.
All right, Senator Tabitha, you've just emboldened
the opposition.
Dr. James.
And I know that it may mean death. It means nothing. I don't even think she knows those people who were arrested, what they went through. They were not arrested and taken to the cell. These people were moved around, being asked questions. Exactly the old Kanu ways where you are moved around, your eyes you are blindfolded. When you arrest people in the proper way, take them to the cell, charge them, and why are you moving around with them at night?
All right, let's hear from Tabitha.
Yes,
Tabitha, you can hear all these allegations and why people are not arraigned or they're taken to police stations so that they can wait to be taken to court. We have issues to do also with breaking of homes and people in their premises, where they're supposed to be secure, where they're supposed to be in their safety.
Yes.
But the police also are breaking in and breaking their legs as well.
Yes. And you see, that's why I've let Daktari be able to put his points just very across because he's a Daktari. And I want him to understand it's not about chest thumping. Because it is not Kenya Kwanza that has set Mandamano. It is not Kenya Kwanza that has called Mandamano. It is the same Hazimio that has either changed the strategy or changed the days or the dates that they want to do and all that. This is within their strategies. It is not us and all that. And so what I'm simply trying to communicate and tell them, they should now be giving way forwards. It should not be like what is sounding, it's sounding like who has won. Who should win should be Mwananchi in terms of the common goal of ensuring that the cost of living goes down. We also want the cost of living to go down. They equally want. But you see, it can't be done with war. It can't be done when we are holding and folding our fist, like let us fight and see who wins. The Swahili have said, wakati fahari wawili wanapigana nyasi ndio inaumia. You understand? And from what I'm hearing from my senior colleague at this particular moment, I should be hearing, we at this point, we felt, let us cancel this Mandamano, but we have said in the next 1 week, for example, that this should be done. For the sake of also, from what I hear, Mheshimiwa saying that people have been removed from their houses. Then I ask, as a leader, has this case been reported? Have you reported this to the relevant authority, such that then you really you are with your people and supporting them even on through the desperation that they go through? What action have you taken as a leader to ensure also there's peace within your people that you're supporting and that the ones that are with you? And number 3, when you really witness that also as a leader, when you walk through and see your people going through what they are going through, is it what you really want for them? Because for you as a member of parliament, you have your own security, you have your own means of transport, a good means of transport, and many other factors. You have a good home that you can go to and run to. What about these people? If you are really watching what your own people are going through, is it what you want to keep on saying, that their spirit you'll keep on igniting for them to keep on fighting? Is it what you want? Yet your own kids are in good school. Yet your own family has had a meal in the morning. We'll have one in the lunch time and we'll have one in the dinner time. There is consistency. Insurance has also covered you in the event of an occurrence of any accident or anything to come. You have a lot that the same government has provided for you, which is not what maybe Mwananchi could be in a position to fully afford. Then why do you keep on watching? I am not agreeing to the fact that 6 policemen beating 1 man. No, I don't agree to that as a leader. No, because I feel if he's unarmed, even 1 police can deal with that person because it's about arresting and all that. And as much as we are calling a spade, the opposition should also call it and accept that. Then why are we at this particular, my question is, why are we still at this point as opposition? Why are we still having the same results? Because the question goes back to, when this man has been beaten by 6 people, he's also a family person and all that. So tomorrow, will he go back to his house with the bales of unga that have then been provided by the same Azimio, or will he go now to the shop and find that this cost of this product has gone down? Is that the solution? It is not the solution. Mheshimiwa has also asked about professionals within the Kenya Kwanza government. And let me tell you, what I've stated even earlier, what we did in our strategy, campaign strategy, we engaged economists led by none other than Dr. Ndi. We did what we called economic forums in each and every county. We went to mashinani, talked to the people, got to understand what is the issue. One of the key issues that really pronounced itself at that particular time was the issue of the financials, the borrowing, the microfinance, the Fuliza issues, the Shylock issues and all that. I remember even one case in Nairobi where a woman stated how she had to lose all her items because she had taken from Shylock, she's supposed to pay in 1 week and all that and all that. Now, to answer the question of the professionals, as we speak, Dr. William, the president, has allowed that the experts in the economic department sit in State House with him. Further to that, also sit in the cabinet discussions so as to give factors in terms of what is needed with the economic perspective of it. And so this team is there, and this team is not a new team. This is a team that has transitioned from the time last year when we were doing the campaigns, when we went to the grounds and got this feedback. One of the products that has been delivered out of those economic forums and through the professionals and the experts that sit in State House is a product that we call the Hustler Fund product. As we speak, we have been able to, this fund was rolled out and over 80 million has been borrowed. There has been revenue from it, from the borrowing, the repayments and all that. In the different counties, all over, this product is rolling. And I urge even Kenyans to continue, using the same products. This is one of the achievements that has been done as far as Kenya Kwanza is concerned. So the issue is the president having the right people surrounding. Yes, he is having. Right. And I said the last time, like Swahili say, usione simba amenyeshea ukadhani ni paka. You see, last week but one, they scored a bit because, there was too much distraction. We sat down as leaders and said, can people be protected and their property themselves be protected? And this week, Kenyans were able to go with their own duties. I don't know if Dibali were not able to come to work because of any road that was blocked, all was moving swiftly and smoothly. Things went on and went on correctly. And that is when they should see that Kenyans are not really interested in that. I've come across Kenyans who are saying, like, really, when these mandamanos are announced, there are things that they can't do because you hold back. Is that where we want to keep on going? If they have said at this particular time that they have cancelled the demonstrations, can they come on table and say ABCD can be achieved in this formula? We can be able to reduce this cost through this formula. We can encourage our people. And when you talk about the hustler fund, allow me to go back there. It's about economic, value, small businesses, people being able to go to get some funding, people being able to improve their agriculture by ensuring that they have the byproducts of agriculture, the seedlings, the extras, the fertilizer that they need to be able to purchase so as to improve on their agriculture. This fund is used for that. The dollar issue. Then, how then do we maximize on ensuring that investors come to this country? If what they are met with is demonstrations. You saw the other time that when we had delegates from different countries, whereby then that is when Mandamano is going on. I also said last week that at Serena Hotel, tear gas was thrown up to Serena Hotel. You tell me a delegate or an investor who was actually at that particular place, how they feel now safe. Right. Being in a capital city that is full of demonstration. And then they further target when we have delegates. They want to paint a picture. They want to paint negativity. Thank you. Because let me just finish on this, because you gave Dr. enough time, and I said it is well, because he's senior, I respect him. And I want to say that then how do they expect that we, as a country, we are going to have good bilateral talks when they target, when these visitors are in place, is when they want to bring chaos, is when they want to paint your own country negativity. And I started by saying what goes around comes around. These are the same things that they were doing during handshake. These are the same that happened. You saw how people were being arrested on the same Friday. Remember Rigiji was being arrested on Friday, released on Monday. I'm not saying that then we are justifying in terms of what you do to us, but I'm trying to communicate and say these things are not new. They've been happening. You understand? And so these are things that it is the high time that they give us a script and say this should be what needs to be done. The price of maize, he has asked, has not gone down. Then I ask, how was this Maandamano demonstration supposed to lower the cost? I always need to understand that mathematical formula of price reduction is equivalent to Maandamano. Price reduction of product X, maize, is equivalent through this formula. Then the end product is that there's a reduction of the price, either by what percentage or by what Kenya shillings that has reduced. I need that mathematical formula from my Azimio colleagues.
All right. But, okay, maybe you want to respond to that, because we want to get also the sentiment of Kenyans, where we have a survey for Infotrack, and from Infotrack, they are feeling, majority of Kenyans, 73%, that the country is headed in the wrong direction.
Let me say something. You said something, when something good comes, when you say something good, it's okay. Like when the was saying, 6 policemen beating people, I agree with that. Yeah, that's the kind of thing you say, okay, on that one, that was wrong. That I agree with. And I think when we start talking like that, then now you see peace. Okay, this went wrong this way, let's look at it. So if you realize that, then we know you are going to do something about how the police behave in the future, not just for this, but even years to come, it's assumed. When you say there's a team that is sat down to look at the economic issues and led by very professional people, that is what should be expected. That I will buy, because that's a good thing, and a responsible government will do that. And then when you say, now that we are here, there's peace, are we willing, what suggestions would we have that would do this? To me, it is simple. What really heightened this is the issue of the taxes. Although the taxes are not coming, one very major component kicked in, even if it's not at the much expected, the cost of fuel. It was adjusted despite what the court said. I think those ones, if you look at issues like that, we can say, even in that bill, that the quota stopped, we can sit down and say, these are the areas we thought are actually making things worse. Those we can say. It would be not right for us to just say, even if there are things to be discussed that can bring solutions, we refuse and continue. Mandamano is to force so that we can have a discussion. When there's need for discussion, we have a Vigil now. I don't know the details. It has not come down to us. Those are things that can be looked at. And how the timing, as far as I know, maybe at another level, our program was way back before the visitors came. We do not change our programs because there are people who have been visiting. That's not our mandate at this point of time. And how do these Mandamano reduce the cost of food? Now, it works this way, at least in my understanding. If, because we put pressure, we are ready now to talk and look about the cost, start even talking about the taxes, things like VAT that we had. If we do that, it will bring down the cost. That's how it works. It doesn't work, obviously, it can't work that if you're in the street, and then tomorrow the cost of hunger, that thing works like that. So when there is a realization that there is need to look at these issues, relook at where we had kept, relook at what made us feel so strong as to go to the street and see if that discussion can bring the cost down, that we will go for. But when you say, when you say, I tell you there'll be no Mandamano, then I said, that is, you don't stop Mandamano by force. You stop Mandamano by agreeing that we can address the issues that are making us feel that something has to be done. And going to demonstrations is a way of saying something needs to be done.
Dibal, just quickly, okay. just let me just touch on one thing. Dr. Mheshimiwa says that they are very aware that going to the streets does not lower the cost of hunger immediately. He has just stated. And so,
it makes you act like you said the economic team is sitting down.
Just
but which economic team is this? Are we talking about the strangers in the cabinet that Cleopas Malala, David Lee, and Monica Juma, and the rest, and Harry Chegai? Or which team are we talking about? Because you mentioned that this team has been deployed to the office of the president, and also we have also the same team sitting in cabinet. So I'm wondering which team are we talking about?
Very good question, and it's a question that comes actually at the right time. This team is led by none other than Dr. Ndi. It's a team of professionals within the economics area, and
Mohammed
it's a team. No, Mohammed is on the communications and all. This is a different professional team. Oh, the other Mohammed, yes, very true. There's Mohammed. There's
the banker.
I'll get his name. And it's a team that has been there. It's not a new team. It's a strategic team that has been there when we were conducting our economic forums, strategies, campaigns at that particular time. This is a team. The beauty of it is that this team sits in State House, whereby they are able to do briefings to the president oftenly in terms of where we are, what can be done. And as we said before, as a professional and as I'm a student of business, you cannot just wake up and decide that the cost of item X or product X is this particular amount. Any commodity product cost of production is determined by many other factors. And these other factors are from different sectors. So you have to look at the cost of each production level so as to be able to account, including the cost of raw material, electricity, and many other factors. The professionals, the engineers who are coming up and putting this end product so as to set the price. So it's not a one-off thing that you wake up in this presentation. But what I was trying to communicate and say, I'm happy that Mheshimiwa says very clearly that their demonstrations cannot give a result of tomorrow the unga is down. Then I ask, then why do you let your people, your supporters, be subjected to all this that you're saying there's so much pay, if you know very well that that gentleman, that youth, that young man will not go to the shop the next day and find this commodity having gone down? Then I ask him again, then what are you having? What are you having which he has not answered? He's not answering completely. In terms of, as I said, as a business student, I'm trying to ask, what is that formula that they said, this X product is this particular cost of Kenya shillings amount? Such that they put the formula in a way that says, this raw material, this fact, they can be lowered to this point. They also need to be telling us they have their own advisors, economists, professionals, who can be able to say that this cost of unga can be able to move from 170 where it is to this 100 shillings, this 70 shillings difference. Then how do we reduce those other external costs of this 70 so as to achieve and make the manufacturer be able to put the end product to the market at that particular 100 shillings? If we would be communicating in those formulas, then we'll be on the same page and they will be telling the Kenyans the truth. Go back a step back whereby you realize during the handshake, this unga was retailing at 250, Buana. At 250. Why were they not demonstrating then? Why were they not going to the streets then? Two, for how long have they been going to the streets? From the time we got into this government, how long has the opposition been going to the streets? And what has really, have they achieved? They have achieved destructions of property, loss of lives in this country because of this demonstration. If today and tomorrow and the day after, there's no more demonstration, tell me if we will be talking about these beatings that we are talking about. If they really have the humanity and they are feeling, why do you have to keep? They should be telling these 100 youths.
Thank you.
How do we sit down? Just a second. Just a second. Just a second. Thank you. Just a second.
Okay.
Kindly. These 100 youths that they are taking and paying them and taking them through the streets from Asubuhi until in the evening. Why can't they bring a strategy and say which plant can we be able to put in our local area, and in this 1 acre of 50 by 100 small farm, how we can be able to plow that small particular farm, be able to come up with a product, be able to put it in the market, instead of always trying to entice and keeping their people, you know, on touch. Us as Kenya Kwanza, we've been able to engage our people with the Hustler Fund. Take this fund, go be able to do some small business and be able to generate much more value. And when we come back, I'll tell you the achievements of Kenya Kwanza.
Thank you.
I'll come back with the formula.
But we'll come back with the formula.
Yeah, yes.
All right. We'll hear also the achievements as we had. But I want just to also welcome Owen Baya. Thank you for joining us. I was a bit worried that you're not coming through, and I thought maybe you're arrested. Then I remember,
you can't be arrested.
You cannot be arrested. Because I can see also there's a text from Dan Maza says, sorry, I have to personally attend court this morning. Okay. So he cannot even make it for the show. This is now the dire situation that we are in with the legislators.
The problems that they bring themselves.
The problem that he has brought himself this problem. Okay, we'll take a short break, then we'll hear from you, Majority Leader as well. Take a short break, don't go away. You're watching Siasa Festa here on